Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Steam for Monday, September 12th. I'm Ramon Scott, and with Mindy Hahn. Mindy, a whirlwind weekend of first NFL week of action. A great day yesterday, crazy day. What can you say? I mean, everybody can revamp and start
Right.
to adjust their thing. We got other information out there as far as the lines coming out next week. We'll touch on that, and maybe we'll just provide free sports picks is what we're doing.
Exactly.
Specific, but can't help but go into some of the stuff that happened over the weekend. I want to talk about pro football, but you were talking yesterday to me, and I must have been just ignoring or had you on. Not ignore. I would never ignore anything you're saying, but I mean, we're trying to do NFL, but we recapped the college, and you mentioned to me, you said, well, it looks like Frost is headed out the door, and I'm like, well, yeah, sure. I mean, you got to have one win out with the Huskers, so maybe she's just reiterating what people are starting to think there. Sure enough, I mean, even before it started to hit Twitter, I mean, you grabbed that first shot of the press release by Trev Alberts saying that Scott Frost had been fired, and then it kind of blew up on Twitter. You were obviously, monitoring it closely, and maybe I just blew it off because he was going to be under fire or on the hot seat for weeks to come if this continued. But obviously, the noise in Omaha, that's what got you to say that
Right.
on the show yesterday. I don't know when you picked up the morning paper, obviously it was probably blasted all over the front anyways that, get Frost has got to go. We know that, in Omaha, the booster situation is way underrated by the general public because
right. But not here with the public
the way
in
things
Omaha.
work there. So obviously the heat was on. The decision probably was already made even before you went on the air and said that. But it just must have been a lot of noise, is what I'm thinking, and it was inevitably going to happen yesterday and not any time later.
Yeah. So, the boosters are in control of a lot of what occurs at the university. As I was mentioning, Omaha per capita probably has the most millionaires because we have the medical center. Also have, it's where Warren Buffett lives. So there's a lot of folks that navigate to this area. We have a lot of the data companies, a lot of the investment companies, Ameritrade, Schwab, that sort of thing. So yeah, I mean, it's one of those that the booster money is either going to go to Nebraska or Creighton. Some of that money was pulled once Trev Alberts went to Lincoln. Not a whole lot of folks were really excited about that, but yet they were saying, well, hey, he does make a lot of the hard decisions. And so that's why people kind of started to kind of gravitate towards Trev Alberts, because I know it's one of those things. You can watch it on the 30 for 30 on ESPN about the UNO wrestling program and Trev Alberts dismantling that when they had won about 3 straight national championships, and told them in the locker room that we're no longer having your program in the locker room after they just won the national championship. So it's a really good one. If you watch the 30 for 30, check it out. But yeah, it's one of those that Trev Alberts, he's there. He had Frost, on notice. And with the booster situation, if they say they're going to pull their money, they're going to make the moves, and that's what they did. It was one of those I'm not sure now how Scott Frost was able to pull off a 12-0 season. There in Florida. I just thought he would be able to come back and change the culture. Didn't necessarily look like that's anything that occurred. And so it's going to be interesting to see who this next hire is, or if they're going to stick with someone like Mickey Joseph again, that was in the program. He was one of the all-time great quarterbacks, growing up. So I'm a fan of the guy.
Yeah.
I'm a fan. So I hope he does well.
Well, I mean, the fact that he has a resume with his seasons at LSU, including working with Joey B. I mean, that does go as far as saying.
And I'm not sure if this wasn't maybe in the works ahead of time, right? Maybe they thought, well, we can come in, and Scott Frost is probably out the door anyway, and groom him for a year for that position in Lincoln.
And Mickey Joseph certainly a little bit of a different quarterbacking style, I think, than Scott Frost. I mean,
Right.
Mickey Joseph was more of an option style quarterback. I mean, if anybody remembers, Mindy and I probably do. I mean, he was in the
No.
right around 1990-ish, I want to say,
Right.
back that far, 30 plus years. But certainly he played some pretty good option style quarterback at
Right.
the University of Nebraska. So yeah, we won't dwell on it too much, but I just wanted to, the fact that I, almost I didn't ignore you. I mean, we were talking about Frost for several
You
minutes.
didn't, yeah, I think it was like that dire.
Right, right. Yeah, and hello to everyone. Thank you in the chat. We don't need to beg for any comments. We got you already. Sebastian and Eric, thank you very much. Anybody else? Don't forget, post your pics in the comments as well, so you can
Yeah,
have the
let us know
pics
how
on
you did.
screen.
Yeah.
Your pics on screen, and you can show your friends. When you were right, especially on tonight's Monday Night Football game, Denver and Seattle. We'll talk about that. We also have a 9-game baseball card. I think kind of that's what we're mostly here for, because that card is heavy, and we didn't ignore baseball over the weekend, especially Mindy. Mindy, did really well in baseball. Let's go on over to our website, tonyspicks.com, where you'll find our premium picks every day. Absolutely our best picks over at tonyspicks.com. And Mindy, we had some winners. We didn't do too great on the show yesterday, but not too worried about that, because you were able to come through with a nice day in the major leagues, and I had a good day in pro football.
Exactly.
So
That's all we're looking for.
yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, maybe we could take a look at the handicapper leaderboards and see who's hot. So that's the thing about some of this, Mindy. When you talk about handicapping and everything, there are still winners to be had. Take a look. You were 5-2 in Major League Baseball yesterday. Nick 7-3. So look, it's where the money comes. There's no doubt about it. I mean, you put two of those handicappers together, the 2-for-1 special, you have 12-5 on a day when everyone in the world is focused on the NFL, but that's pretty good. So tell me, Mindy, I know that in football you had also some pretty nice winners. I mean, you had Tampa Bay on the money line. They crushed. You had the Giants game to go under, and you also had the Ravens. I think we both had the Ravens. So
Yep.
tell me about how your day went, and what one thing I've learned yesterday about watching these NFL games is footballing is hard, especially if you have to throw it or kick it.
Right. I mean, what a crazy day to have two of those games go into overtime with missed field goals. I mean, it was, or missed extra points. Like, it was just wild. I think they were saying it hadn't happened otherwise since what, like 1970 or something like that. So a pretty crazy day. Otherwise, I got beat up pretty good on the Saints there. That's just one of those that I had better expectations for that team. I maybe devalued, Atlanta a little bit. So, I mean, that was one that surprised me a little bit. Also lost last seconds there. Eagles, Jacksonville under, Tennessee under. All got beat like within the last minute. But that is the life of the handicapper, right? It's just how it works. But yeah, I mean, I thought overall it was a really good day. That was a fun game there with the 49ers Bears. I know that was one that you had, so that was a good pick there with the Bears. And yeah, so I mean, I just think overall it was a pretty fun day in the NFL.
Yeah, just popping my record up there as well. 6-3. That all came in the NFL. How about some of these winners, Mindy? Of course, we both had Baltimore.
Right.
Also, I came in with Atlanta, one of those divisional home dogs, right?
Right.
So, yeah, the Bears. Who's going to have the Bears? Well, I had the Bears yesterday. Also, I had a winners, Minnesota. Pretty sharp side there. I think they definitely looked the part against Green
Yep.
Bay, and now we're hearing Rodgers today. I mean, the Green Bay is going to be a team just like sometimes they always are, slow starting. He'll work with those young receivers. He's obviously concerned about the young receiving core, but again, all you can do is keep practicing. You do have Aaron Rodgers. They're going to be under pressure to catch those passes from him. And also, despite the tie and Houston blowing a big lead, they were getting a touchdown at home, and I had Houston there. What do you think of ties, Mindy?
I don't like them at all. I hate them. I don't like ties. I don't want ties ever. I say you play it out until it's done. You need a winner. That's what I say.
Well, and again, and with overtime shortened to 10 minutes, I mean, there's more likelihood that there could be a tie. So why not at least play 15 minutes
Right.
again? I mean, it's all based on health and whatnot. But I mean, again, you only get the chance to play. I said yesterday, you only get a chance to play in your life so many professional or so many football games, even on down the level. And we see now protecting against concussions, things like that in practice. They wear those padded helmets. We talk about that,
Right.
especially with that late injury news that came down yesterday. We don't want quarterbacks to get hurt. They wear the special shirt in practice. A game is always a very dangerous situation. We saw late last night, if anybody on the East Coast went to bed early, Dak Prescott, he's going to miss several weeks now with a broken thumb, basically. He's going to have surgery. He doesn't have to have surgery, but I mean, you're going to get back a little
Well,
sooner,
yeah.
get those bones in place, and he'll have surgery on that, but that's going to affect Dallas moving forward, especially when the Eagles did look, I think, as advertised, pretty strong. I think we both kind of talked them up yesterday, and the Giants. Maybe right now Saquon Barkley is. Don't forget about Saquon Barkley, right? I mean, we forget because the injuries and him. You want to get him on the field when he's there. He's great. And yesterday, maybe was the best in the league. Yesterday, leading the Giants back in that game, and I thought that there was some guts there really shown by their new head coach. I mean, right now he's going to be one of the talked about commodities as far as his first performance as head coach. He took it right to his defense, Mindy, and asked them point blank. He said, "Hey, do you mind if I go for two? If we, get this comeback going and get back within one?" And the defensive player said, "Go for it, coach." So when you've got the confidence of them, I mean, maybe players might feel pressure to just say, "Yeah, do it." But I don't know. I think these are all men out there. They might say, "Hey, coach, we're a good defense. We've worked very hard. Put us back out there on the field again, and we'll make a stop for you." But
Well, I think it's one of the first
Barkley,
times that the Giants just really didn't mess up yesterday. I think that has a lot more to do with it than anything. They more or less found ways to lose before, and this way they found a way to win. And I think that is a culture thing. And once you get that mentality of that, I am going to beat my defender, that's when you start to win ball games. You have, just that belief in yourself and in your team and in your coach, and that breeds success.
yeah, and Dable, he just sounds believable to me. I mean, he seems like he's a coach that players will relate to. At least, it's tough when you go up there and you're looking like a fool on the press conference because you just lost. Everybody wants to pound on a guy, and when they win, and he gets accolades like I'm giving him right now. But like I said, I mean, he sounds believable. And if I was a defensive player and I knew I had Saquon Barkley, I'd probably say, "Yeah, coach, let's go ahead. We got the man right now," and that was a very, very nice comeback. So yeah, we had some wins, we had some losses yesterday on the show on the free picks, but again, look, like I said, we didn't really review the cover too much of the baseball. We just gave out the lines really, but you went to work on the card, Mindy, and that's what's important. You weren't willing to just brush off baseball on an NFL Sunday, so you brought home winners for your clients. We'll just touch on that game, Tampa Bay and Dallas. Despite the injury, we did come home with the double winner on the video package yesterday here on the show. We both thought Tampa was good enough to take care of business, and I don't think that the injury to Dak was the determining factor. Tampa was the better team there, no doubt. And you gave out the under as well in that game, and that one went well under the total. And also another performance I think we nailed pretty well was New England and Miami, where you came in and said that Miami was maybe poised to beat New England early. Tua was everything that he was kind of cracked up to be in this game. Whether or not he'll have a roller coaster or not, I don't know. But you talked about Miami's good fortune, and not good fortune. They played well against New England every time at home. It seems like, especially in these summer months. and Miami does the job against New England. And I called for an under as well. So we did get the sweep there. Maybe we ought to clean it up a little bit, but I think because
Right.
my premiums came home, I think I'm forgiven there. And I think that,
Exactly.
like I said, we did
Mhm.
ignore the baseball, but you brought the premiums home. And that's what's important because that's what we're here to do is sell our premium picks. We're here to give you free picks. You're going to get a ton of free picks every day. We want to win every pick, but again, our best picks are always going to be over at Tony'sPicks.com. Use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 20% off all premium pick packages. Click on the All Cappers tab and get signed up. There you'll see kind of in order who's hot right now at the top. You got Sam, you got the GM coming through with another winning day. You got Collins, you got Daniel in there, and just a pretty great weekend. I mean, we already saw the lines come out. Maybe you get your one little take on it, Mindy. You know, Oklahoma did open. Uh, uh, they're about 13-point favorite over Nebraska. So
That's it.
that's it. That's it. Maybe we can get on Nebraska plus 13.
Nebraska has zero defense. They should have just fired the defensive side when they fired Frost. So you probably should get that game in right now. Take Oklahoma.
Well, the look ahead line, the early look ahead line before all this went down. I mean, they had the college football games of the year where they put up 100 or so games, and that was one of them. And the line early, was Oklahoma 7.5. So you can see how that's kind of deteriorated
Yeah,
there.
fell apart. Well, they probably expected Nebraska to be 3-0 at this point.
And also, I want to mention in the NFL, a lot of people like to participate in these survivor pools.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
that's
and
right.
with teams like the Colts, 49ers, and Bengals all going down, and a lot of people had Carolina. I know I had them as a premium. That was not a great look, but almost half the people in some of these survivor pools were eliminated in week one with some of these crazy NFL results. So again, a little bit of topsy turvy, if you will, with the week one. Like I said, I mean, when you got the Bengals had the best kicker in the league pretty much last year. This guy struggled yesterday. So,
Right.
some of these quarterbacks, Trey Lance, was he going to be the savior? Look, it was raining.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to tell on that one, but yeah.
Right, and I think too much is being made about because the offensive performance or running the ball wasn't good either. I mean, I made a bad call on the video, but again, I knew that was the sun rain schedule, but not necessarily where the water was flooding the walkways. It was players were doing a slip and slide on the field. So when you see that, it's really going to be tough to navigate. Navigate the football up and down the field. So maybe Lance can get just a little bit of a break on that one, but he's not feeling it right now. I mean, he's definitely they're taking the heat right now as far as him at quarterback at this point, and the Bears, being able to get that win. So interesting results. We have one game tonight. We'll talk about it. I thought we'd save it. I don't know if you want to ready kind of to go into baseball because you were hot yesterday in the major leagues. We want to get back to some of these. The wild card races mostly are what's really hot and heating up. I'm feeling uncomfortable out here in San Diego about it, but a light card today, 9 games, including a day-night doubleheader, and we're trying to get pieced together what's going on there a little bit. But I think I've got plays ready in just about everything. Let's see your comments and come on in. Matt's with again today. Thank you, Matt, for joining us. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're going to put your plays up as we're going along. We'll do that too and get right into the free picks rapid fire rundown for Monday, September 12th. Fix the date there and get right into it. Here we go, Mindy. Texas and Miami. This is the first game of a doubleheader. So, if you want to take a pass, or you can maybe talk. I think game one may be a little more stable than what we might know about game two. We know Otto is going up against Rogers, and Rogers about a $1.25 favorite, and the total probably 7/20 here.
Well, I mean, I think Texas, just has the better, offense here. Over the Marlins. My cat's in the way. Goodness. But yeah, I mean, the Rangers are 23-20 versus lefties, 500 against teams with losing records there too. You know, Rogers, he's just worse at home as well. I like the Rangers here in this one. I think they probably have a pretty good chance of taking both of these games in the doubleheader here tonight.
Right. Well, we know Miami's woes. The thing about Rogers, he has had a couple of. He's coming off a couple of decent starts, so I mean, I'll give him that much. But again, I mean, and like I said, I mean, you're getting a nice price here, I would think, on this one with the Rangers at maybe what plus $1.05, maybe even money. That's okay too. For me, I'll probably lean towards the over in this game, especially I see now it has gone mostly 7.5 over at even. So I kind of wanted to go over 7, and obviously I could take it down probably to about 7 over 30. But that's the way I'm going to look in this game is going to be on the over with Otto and Rogers. I just think that number, that 7.5, even that 7.5, kind of light. I'm gonna go over in this one, especially like what you said about Rogers. Rangers okay against left-handers, I think right now. So that'll be my play on the free pick rundown. Mindy is on Texas, and I'll be on the under. All right. Well, this would be an interesting one because you got one of the best pitchers going right now in Reed Detmers for the Angels. He's going to be on the road against Cleveland with Pilkington. Now, Pilkington, I don't know if he's necessarily going to be able to go that deep in the game, but Detmers, he's obviously been very, very sharp. He's a dog here. Cleveland, $1.25. Mindy, this total just about 90 minutes ago was 8.5 under 20, and now you're looking at 7.5 over 20. So pretty steep. I mean, that's not a full run move because it was a juiced. I think some people might have also seen 8 over as a line. I say 8.5 under 20, but there were some 8 over 20s. But now you're at least talking at least a half a run move in the last 30 minutes. What do you got here?
Well, yeah, I mean, Detmers, I like how he looked. I mean, he throws pretty hard, has a nice change, decent movement here. I don't, I don't know here if LA is something where they're going to be able to, muster the strength up here for the rest of the way with nothing to play for. When you have a Guardians team here that is in the hunt, they're going to try to go ahead and hold off the White Sox for, the AL Central in that one. I just think the Guardians here just have a lot more, to play for in here. I think the last 17 of 24 games Cleveland has at home. They need to take advantage of that. I like where they stand. I'll take the Guardians here in this one.
Okay. Well, I think Detmers can at least come out and have a good performance. I mean, 3.81 ERA in his last 5 starts, but I think we've seen on the surface what he's capable of. The Angels really haven't done too well in his starts, despite the fact that he has pitched pretty well. So I see what you might go with there. For me, I want to go under. I really wanted to get a better price than this, but I think it can be an under game. But there is some concerns. Pilkington 0-2 with a 6.38 ERA in his last 4 starts, but he has not started in about a month and a half or so. Really, he's been kind of a guy picking up innings in the middle. He's been coming in after an opener. I mean, I'm not sure that there might actually be a pitching change here and bring in and have some type of opener. I think that was part of the situation here as well. So Cleveland has gone under in 22 of their last 31 games. I think that's what kind of puts me on an under here. Also, the Angels 7-4-1 to the under in their last 12 games. So that's why I also want to throw in Pilkington 8-1 to the under in his last 9 starts. So not a great number. That's why it's a free play. I was starting to look at some of my premiums, and this was one of them at 8.5. That's what it said back door, and I wasn't, punching in the plays yet. But now, I mean, I'm not sure I can give it out as a premium play, but I still want to give it out. I mean, especially with these teams going so solidly to the under of late. Okay, Pittsburgh is going to take on Cincinnati in the game of the year today. It'll be Bryce Wilson going up against Mike Minor. Cincinnati a favorite here. I don't know. Probably is a pick 'em. I mean, who's going to win this game? Minor's a $1.35 though at home, and the
Well,
total 9/15, maybe 9/20. Now we're seeing a little bit of a tick up on the over.
Well, yeah, yesterday I said, the Colts and Houston might be a must miss. This one might be in that same category. But you never know. That game wound up being pretty good. So maybe this one will be as well. But Pirates have lost the last 8 of 10. They haven't won a series here since August. And then look what they run into: Reds, Mets, and Yankees. Yikes. The Pirates, are officially eliminated. Whether or not we thought they were eliminated all along, that's besides the point. And of course, they're really fighting Washington for the worst team, in the AL. Then you have the Reds here. They're on like a 2-game losing streak again when we were really excited about their 3-game winning streak last week. But they've won 8 of 15 here over the last little stretch. Also have that third worst record out there. But Minor, he's won his last 3, decisions here. Hasn't allowed over 3 runs in the last 7 of 8 starts. I'm going to take Minor and the Reds.
Fair enough. I think you're getting some value there because I saw an opener as high as -145. So I think at -130, 135 right there, saving about 10 cents. I will come in then, Mindy, on the under here at 9 over 15. So maybe minus $1.05 on the under. Minor has gone under in 8 of his last 11 starts. He's got a 3-0 record with a 3.91 ERA in his last 4 starts. You mentioned some of the positives that he has going on right now. Pittsburgh's going over a little bit, but I don't necessarily trust their offense too much here, especially considering the way they play on the road. They're barely 35% winning percentage on the road. So I think that's why I could joke about a pick 'em because no team can win, but certainly when you're playing 33% on the road or whatever it is, and even if you're playing the Cincinnati Reds, you can't be expected to be anywhere close to a pick 'em. So I'll go under though the 9 in this one with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati.
Sounds
All
good.
right. Houston is going to take on Detroit, and you got Framber Valdez, a $2 favorite here against Detroit and Rodriguez. Valdez, he gave up 4 runs in his last start, but only 2 of them were earned, so he still has that outrageous streak going of quality starts. Of course, a quality starter, everybody knows, 6 innings or more with 3 earned runs or less. He did give up. He did go, I think, 6 1/3. I don't know what it was, but he went over 6 and gave up just 2 earned runs. So even though he had 4 runs allowed, he still has that great streak. No one's going to say he's suddenly lost it at this point when he's one of the hottest pitchers in the major leagues.
Yeah, that was his 23rd consecutive quality start. The Astros, as we all know, they have the best record in the AL, and the Tigers have the worst. They swept the Tigers, so far this season, and with Valdez on the mound, they don't have a chance. The Tigers are only averaging about 3 runs a game. They're 30th in the MLB. Take Houston. I don't know if you want to lay them -200. You can always find something maybe a little bit better, first 5 or a run line situation. But yeah, I think even the -200 is pretty safe here in this one.
Houston going to be close. I think they can get to 100 wins, and watch out, Detroit. They might have 100 losses by the time the next 2 weeks are through. Look, I don't want to necessarily get involved. But, I don't know, Mindy. If I had, I'd almost lean to Detroit just because of the situation that Houston is. I think everything's not it would be more of a price play. I mean, I don't give Detroit really a big chance here at all, but maybe on the run line or something. But so my play though will be on the over. I think Houston can get it done and smash them here, and the fact that I'm looking at a total of 7. I mean, look, Houston 5-3 doesn't seem out of the question. 6-2, something like that. I think we can get there to 8 runs today, given Houston's chances to put up some offense. That's the way I'd more look at it. Rodriguez 1-1 ERA with a 5.29 ERA in his last 3 starts, and Tigers just 4-8 in their last 12 games. They have gone over in 5 of their last 8 at home. Not a great sample there, but again, I think Houston puts up the runs here, and that's what gets us over the total. Okay, Tampa Bay and Toronto. Now, this is going to be an opener, I believe. Yarborough will be the primary pitcher for Tampa Bay. So we have Criswell as the opener. Barrios, a veteran, certainly in there. Pretty big favorite here, actually, for a game like this. Yeah, sure, Tampa Bay got rocked by the Yankees. The Yankees got a little bit healthy finally and took out some frustration, but still, Tampa Bay and Toronto, almost a rivalry in a way. And but Toronto, pretty big favorite here though, at minus $1.55. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either, Ramon. I mean, I know that Tampa Bay got beat up here the last couple games here with the Yankees, so they need to go ahead and bounce back here. But Toronto has won its series. I mean, Tampa Bay. Um, I don't know. I like Tampa Bay. I like their bullpen. I don't think it really is going to matter too much today with who starts, how many innings they go. Barrios just really hasn't been all that good as of late either with that 5.23 ERA. Tampa Bay, they've won the last 4 out of 5 here versus the Jays. I like Tampa Bay. I don't really see why this one's a minus 155 personally.
Yeah, I mean, despite those games, and I don't know if it's going to stand out to bettors that the fact they lost those
It must.
games against the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees are just like these two teams, very, very good. I mean, look, this is a great matchup. Both teams with, right next to each other in the overall standings, if you will. Both have Toronto 78 wins, Tampa Bay 77 wins. We know Tampa's been red hot, 24 out of last 35 they've won, and Toronto as well, with winning 10 of their last 13 games. So, look, this is I would guess the game of the day, right? I mean, as far as quality, I mean, this is going to be a good matchup. And again, you have Yarborough; he's going to be the main pitcher, and he's been he's definitely been pretty decent. So I'm gonna go. Let's be in agreement here. Let's be in agreement for once, right? Because you got the better of me yesterday, so I better just agree with Mindy and go with Tampa Bay in this one at a plus price. It says 155 on the screen. I'm already seeing it dip to over 150, maybe even 145. So let's get on this one right away, folks. If you're gonna play it, let's get on Tampa Bay. This one might even be going a little bit lower considering what's going on. All right. The Chicago Cubs are going to take on the New York Mets. We got the biggest favorite on the board here with Bassett, 280 going up against Assad. And the total in this one is 8. Pretty outrageous number no matter how you look at it. But, it is what it is. Can you formulate a bet on this one?
Well, I mean, it's one of those again. Mets hold the 3-1 edge in the series. Bassett been doing really nice work. 6-0, 1.75 ERA. Last 7 starts. The Cubs have been outscored 20-4 in the last 3 road games. I'm going to take the Mets on the run line here at this one. I think it's a pretty decent play here, even though I think Assad is decent.
Yeah, Javier Asad's been pretty good, right? I mean, you wonder why we didn't see him earlier, the way he's started off with a 2.51 ERA in his last 3 starts. Doesn't have a victory to show in those games, but been pretty decent. And Cubs are under in 4 straight games right now. That's going to probably be the way I'm looking because Bassett, you mentioned his great numbers right now, and the Mets have won each of his last 8 starts.
Right.
So that's pretty good. The Mets, maybe he was in their plan, but right now he's a big part of their plans. I would think moving forward, the role that he's on right now. Mets playing terrific. 67% at home right now, 46-23 on the season. So I think Bassett comes in, has a strong performance against the Cubs, and I'm counting on Assad to continue to be an improving young pitcher for the Cubs, and I will go under the 8 in this one. So Mindy's on the Mets. I'm on the under on the free picks rapid fire rundown. Now, we've got the second game of the doubleheader. So I don't know, what we can do too much with this if you want, but it looks like John Gray is a starter for Texas at about $1.20, and Braxton Garrett for Miami. Looks like that's pretty solid, actually, as far as the pitching is concerned in this game. So I think I can come up with something here and hear what you have to say.
Yeah, I mean, I think Gray is probably their best pitcher, and Miami fails to score runs. I think in this one, I'd like to go under the 7 here in this one.
Okay, I think we can. Let me see. I want to see if I want to see if I can come in with maybe on the side because I like the under as well, Mindy. I'll just go with it right there because we need a 2-team parlay for our baseball action on this short card for our
Gotcha.
parlay video. So this is our parlay video right here. Chop it up, Tony.
We're
We
trying to
got
find it.
Tampa Bay as an underdog on the money line, and we're going to go under the 7 with Texas and Miami. You're right, Gray. Been okay. His last 2 starts, he's gotten rocked a little bit, but I think that with Garrett in there, he hasn't been that sharp as well, but he has gone under in 10 of his last 13 starts. So that's kind of what I like about it. Also, the Rangers under in 7 of their last 8 games. So we already talked about the first game. I actually, ended up going over in that one, but we'll go under in game 2 with Texas and Miami and put that maybe maybe we can get a 3-teamer. I don't know if we can, but we got a 2-teamer.
What, 2 more games
For baseball tonight, Mindy. You got a 2-teamer at least. All right, Mindy, let's talk about the one team that has clinched a playoff berth. I think they actually clinched it back in May, but the Dodgers officially have clinched, and they're going to be taking on Arizona in a pretty decent pitching matchup, it looks like, with Anderson and Kelly. Anderson actually opened a little bit higher than this, as high as 240. So, if anything, it looks to me like the actions kind of come in on Arizona. Now, with so much football, I don't know if the Dodgers, do they even care? Were they drinking champagne? Well, they were drinking. They're baseball players. But I don't even know if they put the goggles on for their celebration of a playoff berth. You're the Dodgers. You have bigger expectations than just making the playoffs. So I imagine there wasn't a big celebration. But to me, it looks like the Sharps are in on Arizona today.
I'm not sure why. I don't know. Kelly got rocked last time versus the Dodgers. Dodgers swept the last meeting. Maybe it comes down to the Dodgers let down, but I don't really see it happening. They're also averaging the 1.36 home runs per game, and I'm not sure what exactly happened to Arizona there in Colorado. Just allowing 17 runs in that 3-game series. It was just because we even talked about the under in that game a couple days ago. I don't know what happened. I don't know. I just don't think that Arizona has what they need today.
Yeah, and I didn't mean to lead you astray there, and I don't know if you've even done the research on this because the news has just been breaking really over the last 30 minutes or so as we've started this show that the starting pitcher will be for Arizona. Maybe this is why the move has come in. This will be Kyle Nelson as the starter. I don't know if it's going to change your handicap any because Nelson's coming up, to face Kyle Nelson's going to be making his debut here with Arizona facing the Dodgers. But he is Arizona's minor league pitcher of the year last year. He had a 3.17 ERA, 12 and a half strikeouts per 9 innings last season, but that was in single A and triple A. This season in Reno, where the ERAs can be elevated, but still in 26 starts, he had a 5.43 ERA. It's the end of the season. Arizona wants to, see where things are going. So didn't mean to lead you astray there. You'll probably go back and re-handicap the game and look at Nelson a little bit. And like I said, maybe that's
probably going to take the Dodgers on the run line in this one. I don't think there's too much that would change my mind, just especially how Arizona's been playing as of late. This last series, anyway.
Yeah. Well, and Dodgers, 19-5 in Anderson's starts. So, and also, under 8-2-1 in his last 11 starts. So, Nelson's a guy who I believe I want to say I need to look up more. He might have actually had a start so far. This one kind of caught me by surprise. So I'm sorry, everyone. I'm not really ready to comment too much on him, but I will think that I'm going to go under with Anderson, especially in this one. The total at 9 under 20. That total is still correct there. So I think it may be difficult for Arizona to score right now against Anderson. I'll go under. That looks like a pretty high number to me. It's going to be a free play because my information still a little sketchy early this morning in that game because of this pitching change. So let's just move on and take a look at Atlanta. Pretty big favorite here, no matter how you look at it. But San Francisco fading a little bit, obviously fading big time, actually. But right, $1.75, maybe even up to $1.80, and the total here is at 7.
So what a wild game yesterday versus the Mariners there. Had that one on while I was watching some NFL football. But yeah, putting up a 5 spot in the top of the 9th, only to get beat by 2, single home runs there in the bottom of the inning. But what a comeback though. It was a fun one to watch. But the Giants, they're 6-14 versus the Braves. San Francisco, even though they won yesterday in the Cubs, and I had that one as a play, they continue to struggle in the bullpen. And that Braves bullpen's exceptional, minus what happened yesterday. 1.88 ERA. Braves have also had 16 home runs in their last 8 games. Atlanta's hitting 258, Giants 228. Like Atlanta here in this one. And don't disagree with the Braves in the first 5 there.
Yeah, thanks a lot to Tim, who gave us Braves first 5. You can see that, right? Because Wright's 4-0 with 3.30 ERA in his last 5 starts, and Giants just 2-7 in Cobb's last 9 starts. So maybe that's worthy of the price. What's the first 5 price there that Tim's going to have to lay? Minus $1.70 or minus a half, minus $1.20. Maybe Tim is okay with that as well, rather than laying $1.70 with
the way that the Giants have been struggling to score. I don't think that's a bad play.
Sure. I will come in on the total to go under in this one with the Giants 5-0 to the under in their last 5 games, and with Cobb's starts under in 9 of the last 14. We know Braves are hitting, but they are on the road here, and I think Cobb's numbers, they've been decent though. 2-0 with a 2.17 ERA last 5 starts. So look, Braves are hitting right now. They're getting the job done. They're in the push now, ready for the postseason. Giants going nowhere. I'll take the under in this one. All right, Mindy, we're going to be able to keep this show under an hour, but we got to get back to the National Football League.
Here we go.
Another conspiracy game, as Mindy likes to call it. Now, I'll give you this, Mindy, when it comes to this game, because you talked about, how the matchups are made, when they're made. They're already, like I said, they're already predetermined to be made, but when they put them on TV and everything is kind of the whole deal here.
Rearrange
this is a no-brainer, right? To have
right.
But let me give you this, and let me ask you this before I get your free selection on the game. Now, we know that the trade with Russell Wilson, that was way back in March. So the original line when they had the NFL lines that came out tonight. Yeah, let me get back to Tim right there on that, and I will correct him here. He's got it right. Spencer Strider is the starter tonight. That one just breaking as well. Mindy, I don't know if you want to revamp your handicap here on the Braves game, but Strider is the starter. I mean, obviously he's even better.
Yeah, and the Giants are woeful. So yeah, I'll stick with what I got there.
Okay, let me get back to the NFL. Thank you very much, Tim, for that. That's why we have you folks here in the chat to keep me awake,
Breaking
especially on the
news.
Monday card. We've had several changes already on the Monday card, so take it for what it's worth. Anyway, so Mindy, uh, the trade happened back in March. I think we knew that Gino was probably going to end up as a starter. Maybe he had to win the job, but what kind of competition really was there? So the line back in May, when the NFL lines kind of came out for the whole season, when they put it together and say these are the lines now, was Denver -4 and the total 41.5. What has changed in your mind, if anything, since May that could warrant Denver being a 7-point favorite, or maybe even 6.5? We're starting to see, I think maybe the sharps buy in a little bit on Seattle. There's a lot of juiced up 6.5s out there. But the total to go up also in this one, Russell Wilson, he's not exactly, these guys are both in their early 30s. It's not like Gino's some youngster either. So what do you
Yeah,
think?
I mean, I think it comes down to the little bit of maybe quarterback controversy there between Gino and Drew. Also maybe losing a couple of running backs there for the Seahawks. Maybe it's a little bit of signing Randy Gregory for the Broncos, and maybe some of that, right? But I think a lot of it just comes down to, um, you know, it could just be the signing of the Russell Wilson contract again before he even plays a game. So there's that public perception, of it all, of the superior quarterback, which I think that he is. I mean,
Yeah.
if you take a look, since Peyton Manning, there's been 11 starting quarterbacks for the Broncos. And so I don't know. I mean, if it's going to be one of those things that Russell Wilson's going to play another couple years, or a couple and done, if he's going to, live out that 5-year extended contract. I'm not quite sure. But they've also had these, quarterbacks with all these lower passer ratings. They've only been averaging about 211 yards passing. I mean, that's terrible, in the NFL. And the only thing that's been keeping them in games is that defense. They do have like the third ranked defense, only giving up like 18 points a game. So, I mean, I think it could be a little bit of a lethal combination. I'm not quite sure how the running back situation is going to go in Denver, only because they have 3 guys that look like they're just probably going to rotate, I'm guessing. How they're going to do that. But I was still always a little bit surprised that the Seahawks gave up on Russell Wilson. Maybe he was unhappy there. He didn't really like the O-line. But, I mean, messing up his finger and having that finger go bad and then trying to come back, I mean, it's nearly impossible. I mean, when I was in college, I broke my thumb doing a hand slide at home, a weird play, the catcher throwing it back to try to get me out from the pitcher, hit my thumb and broke it. Well, even though I played, for like the next month with my glove taped on my hand, that finger was still broke for like a year. And so my thumb was still broke for like a year. So I don't know how these guys are gonna be able to say, hey, Russell Wilson's terrible because he had a broken finger, or what's gonna happen with Dak. I mean, he may not recover in 6 to 8 weeks with that thumb. It's just one of those deals that these injuries, I think, have a lot to do with what happens with these teams. And then you have a fan base that's just really unhappy, or you have the media that's just really unhappy when it comes to injuries and teams. I just think Seattle, I mean, even though they have Lockett and Metcalf, they got Penny, I just don't see a whole lot, especially when I think they lost about 6 to 7 players on defense. I think the Broncos are going to win this one pretty easy tonight, especially when the Seahawks are losing to teams like Dallas and stuff. in the preseason. I know it doesn't really matter that much, but they don't really have a lot to show me, I think, in this one.
Well, I think we can see the public perception then also, because I think those are the observations that most people would have on that. It just, to me, it concerns me getting laying so many points on the road. I mean, Denver, like you said, I mean, Elway has been trying everything to, get the right quarterbacking situation in there, and they finally maybe have found a solution. You're not gonna, you're not experimenting with Russell Wilson. I mean, he's your quarterback until something happens. Hopefully, no. I don't like when people say like, "Oh, this player's got to, he's going to be this good or whatever," and then someone says, "Yeah, but he has to stay healthy." You have to assume that everyone is going to stay healthy. It's a terrible thing to say.
Right.
No one is expecting to get injured. And I was going to show you, Mindy, my home sliding injury, but it's on my middle finger of my left hand. It never healed. I don't want you to get the wrong idea. If I
Right.
show a close up of my middle finger where the knuckle is bigger than the rest of my hand, because you just keep playing. It's not an injury that you just let it heal. I mean,
Right.
not a you play with sometimes a small break, and it doesn't always work out like you said. But yeah, I mean, I think Javonte Williams, you mentioned the Denver run. He could be a guy that people are going to get to know a little bit more. I mean, Melvin Gordon certainly. Look, I mean, it's a great matchup. I would think for guys like Lockett and Metcalf, but Geno's got to get the ball to him, and that's the first concern. And another thing, just caution that you're still going up against the 12th man as well. But again, Denver's a kind of a runaway favorite. To me, I think the total is a little too high now, given the situation. I mean, I don't think that Geno might be in a situation to produce a lot of points. Seattle might have to rely on that depleted defense, so to try to slow them a little bit. But you know,
Yeah, it's going to be right with that if the Seahawks can score twice. If the Seahawks score twice, it might hurt you. If the Seahawks, I mean, like touchdown one time and then field goals, you'll probably be okay, So I kind of like where you're heading, though. I don't think Geno's going to have really too much, to offer, even with those weapons. You have to get the ball to him.
It's funny last night in seeing the Tampa Bay game, and the Ryan Succoby had 4 field goals in the first half because they couldn't quite get to the end zone. But yeah, look, I mean, Russell Wilson can't be too disappointed leaving guys like Lockett and Metcalf when you can hook up with guys like Cortland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy. I mean,
Right.
not necessarily a
Yeah, it's too
downgrade.
bad that Patrick went down, or
Oh yeah.
that would have been another nice weapon for
Yeah,
him.
well, that's my guy right there. I mentioned to you about covering some like do junior college football out here, and that's one of my players. Tim Patrick went to Grossmont College before he went off to 4-year school and got his career started. So I'm a big fan of his, and I already have expressed to you my disappointment in him being injured for this one. But I'll take the under 43.5. I think that's where it says 44 on the screen. I don't know if I can get that anymore. I might be able to shop for that and find a 44, but I'll go under in Denver and Seattle. Mindy's got Denver to win this one.
Yeah, and I think that Denver's defense is probably better than what they had been. They were, ranked 3rd last season, didn't lose anyone, and again, gained Randy Gregory. I mean, so as long as he doesn't, smoke any pot, we'll be okay with him.
Yeah, well, I don't know. That might be on
the ex-Husker as well. Randy Gregory was awesome for Nebraska, and then has lost about $6.2 million because of smoking too much. Unfortunately,
Matt comes in with a pick for us. Takes the Broncos. He also commented about Jimmy G not starting in a game where the weather was bad. Maybe you want to get the veteran in there for a game instead of Trey Lance, but that's not the way it worked out there. Timothy asks about the Broncos defense. I think Mindy covered that pretty well. I mean, I think they'll be the better defense here. Maybe not a terrible matchup, though. Maybe I'm leaning the other way, but just because of the price, I'm not going to necessarily fade Mindy here on this one because it's obvious the way the direction, the expectations are high. There's no doubt that Wilson's going to have a little bit of pressure on his shoulders too moving forward, just because of the fact that he signed that big contract. And look, I said it, Mindy, and I meant it. I mean, Russell Wilson will never live up to the money that he was given, but you're not necessarily paying for. Yes, you want that performer, you want to get to the playoffs, you want to give yourself a chance. Russell Wilson and a Denver organization that will be able to keep things steady, I think, on defense. You get what you pay for there. I don't think he'll ever meet the money there, but again, the worth of it isn't necessarily just all on the field. When you got Russell Wilson, you have an affable player, a player that fans love. There's more value to Wilson, just as much off the field as there is on the field. The type of character that he is, it's a little bit of a character sometimes too, uh, off the wall a little bit. Nothing outrageous, but just his personality. He's a likable guy, and he'll go do fine in Denver, I would think, considering. Okay, well, great show, Mindy. We keep it light today with an hour. Head on over to our website, Tony'sPicks.com, and use the promo code TonyT at checkout to save 20% on our premium picks. These are absolutely our best picks each and every day over at Tony's Picks. I'll also have packages up and available. I'm coming off that good NFL day. Mindy, you mentioned it, and I recapped it as well. But a 6-3 day with some pretty decent winners in there, including the Bears over those 49ers, the Texans plus the points, the Ravens, and the Vikings, and a total. So I had some wins. I had a couple of losses. You mentioned Denver. Mindy, and I lost on the total. Really not a great pick, really, considering as a division play. I even talked about how I prefer unders in divisional play, but I just thought that with Carr, with Herbert, I thought that the game would go over, and it did not. But maybe we could touch a little bit. What do you Denver tonight can if they can start 1-0. The Chargers did get the victory. I thought they looked okay. They lost Keenan Allen with a hamstring injury, but that's going to be probably just short term, maybe miss a game or two, certainly. But any concerns with Carr and the Raiders for you?
No, I mean, I don't think there's any concern, there for me. It's always going to be, a tough divisional matchup. I think maybe offensive line needs a little bit of work. They got to him quite a bit. But again, those are things that you can coach. Those are things you can get better at. So I'm not too concerned with where they set. And actually, for me, the Chiefs played better than I had anticipated as well. I liked Arizona to cover the spread in that one. Also thought it was going to be a low scorer, but was not. So again, it's going to be interesting. And then let's just say if the Seahawks actually pull this off, they'll be in first place because everyone else in their division lost too.
Yeah. If anything, the AFC West looks pretty strong again.
Right.
Just considering, I mean, look, I trust the Raiders situation a little bit still with McDaniels. Wasn't a terrible situation. They were in that game with the Chargers, mostly because
they had
the
a chance to win
Chargers
it at the end.
undoing. Yeah, the Chargers undoing a little bit. I thought, kind of kept the Raiders in the game, but Chargers looked okay. And obviously, if Denver gets in this race with Kansas, look, I said Kansas City. With Buffalo looked great, but I don't think you've got the Chiefs hat on your head right there, and there was nothing wrong with what the Chiefs did. I know everybody wants to bag on Arizona a little bit, and maybe I don't know. There's even some talk and this coaching situation survived. I kind of talked up their coach yesterday a little bit. That's he's been part of their success, at least. I don't know if it's called a success, but kept it steady for a franchise that usually isn't very good. But yesterday they were just no match for the Chiefs. The Chiefs had it all on display.
Yeah, I'm not sure if a lot of it is because these guys don't play in the preseason as much. So, it takes a game or two to get, back into things. I thought that maybe that might be the deal with the Rams, or at least I'm kind of hoping. Otherwise, the Rams are probably going to struggle this year if they continue to play like they did. It's just, I don't know. It's just, I feel like teams were a little bit sloppy here week one, and I think that will continue to get better.
All right, do Mindy and I a solid and pick us up for 1 week. Why don't you on the 2-for-1 capper promotion? If you like our show and you like our picks, how about teaming Mindy and I up for 7 days? That'll get you all the way through tonight's game and all the way through probably next Monday night's game. You can
That's
pick us
right.
up for 7 days for just $229. Uh, it's buy one at one handicapper at full price. That's Mindy. You pay for her picks at full. You get me for half price because that's about what I've been worth over the last couple of weeks. But I put it back together this weekend a little bit, showed the profit over the weekend, and
Uh,
yeah, looking at next week, we'll start to break down those games. Probably starting tomorrow, we'll start to get into Thursday. Mindy, be ready. I'll contact you on that. But we also had a comment. I think we got already Thomas starting to look ahead, and I will mention next week, Mindy. We talked about tonight's Monday night game, but I didn't know if you noticed it already. But next week's Monday night game is a doubleheader. But the NFL is going to do something interesting this year, and I think they're going to have this another time and maybe a third time. Haven't looked too far ahead, but they'll have a doubleheader next Monday with one game starting at like 7:15 Eastern, and then another one starting just like an hour later. So
oh, head to
for
head
about
almost, huh? Okay.
yeah, so for about 2 hours, you'll have a game on ABC and another one on ESPN. I don't like it. I mean, I think you have a great product like the NFL. You should be spreading all of your games all around,
Right.
uh, really. But again, I mean, a lot has to do with television contracts. That's why you still have that old. I don't want to say it's archaic now to have the 10 o'clock and the early games in the late window. I don't know, and it works great. You love your red zone, obviously. Stay
Yeah.
to that, but I don't know. It might be a time to shake things up. That's what the NFL is trying to do. So, all right, Mindy, great show. Thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right.
Don't
Sounds
forget, head
good.
on to our website, Tony'sPicks.com. Use that promo code TonyT at checkout to save 20% off all premium pick packages. Catch you again tomorrow, Tuesday, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, for more Morning Steam. For Mindy Hahn, I'm Ramon Scott. Thank you for joining us.
Bye bye.